Hey everyone, I'm back again, and as usual, I'm very grateful to have you guys tuning in for today's message. And today I'm going to bring in a bit of an interesting story because just recently I have been having a lot of people reach out to me for what we're going to talk about today, and having these 15-minute power sessions that I've been offering for you guys. It's been just really weird, just like how many people are just in the same struggle or the same challenge, I should say. And so I want to dive into that, but also, I want to share with you something kind of interesting because recently, as you guys know, I've been putting more episodes into the Limitless Potential podcast. And basically, it's coming on the back of what I'd previously created a few years ago when I ran a couple of different podcasts with my ex-partner who I was in business with. And I didn't delete any of the 100 previous episodes because I feel like we interviewed some incredible people and they're valuable episodes, and why not, just leave them there for people to benefit from. But it's been interesting, right? Because what's happened is I've had a bunch of people that my clients and some of you guys reaching out and letting me know that you've been listening to those episodes. And so I actually was like, I haven't listened to those episodes. They're back from, like 2016 and before that for ages. And I'm like, I wonder what you guys are like listening to. I wonder what was going on back then. And so what I did was I went back and I just kind of skimmed as far back as I could kind of go on the scroll. And one of these episodes kind of popped up for me, and it was titled like a private conversation, and it was about, life meaning or life purpose or something like that. But I thought, private conversation, what's that about, right? And I went back and I actually skimmed through and listened to it. And what it was back, I think it was at the beginning of 2017, it might have been, pretty early on, I think in January. I was really struggling in my personal life. Like I was really lacking clarity. I was, on this particular day, I was in a pretty dark place, right? And what happened was my partner at the time was just chatting with me about it, like, asking me some questions and letting me talk it out and so forth. And so, but unbeknownst to me, he was recording the whole conversation, right? So, I think I was sitting on the bed, or at least I don't even really remember this that well. It was just me re-listening to this private conversation. But I was sitting on the bed and he was laying on the floor, and about halfway through the conversation, he was like, I actually think this could be valuable for people to hear. So he put his phone voice memo on underneath the bed and recorded the rest of the conversation. And, obviously at the end of it, I was like, I actually said to him, I'm like, we should have recorded that. And then he showed me his phone and he was like, I kind of did. And it was funny, right? And then we decided to put it out as an episode. But at the time, what I was kind of going through at that point was I was talking this all out. And one of the things that I came to, lacking clarity, feeling like I didn't have the vision moving forward. Felt like I was getting kind of caught up in all the tasks of what we were supposed to do, but I was lacking real meaning, and I didn't feel like I was progressing, and I felt like I was sabotaging my success and our success, and it just didn't feel good, right? And as I talked this all out, one of the things that I said at the end of it, and kind of making this realization, was I said this: depth inspires courage, and courage has no purpose in shallowness. Now, I'm going to unpack that, right? Because it's like, whoa, okay, what the hell does Vanessa mean by, the shallowness and the depth, and how does that impact courage? And I'm going to dive into that with you guys today. And that's exactly why today's message is entitled, Courage Requires a Meaningful Purpose to Stimulate Its Appearance. Okay, so basically, a lot of people I've been talking to recently have been getting caught in this trap, feeling like they're sabotaging their success, they're not moving forward, albeit in relationships, in their business. In particular, I'm hearing from people, some people it's in their health, right? And basically they're feeling really burnt out. Like they feel like, oh, why can't I just get it together? Why can't I just implement the things I already know? I already know this stuff. Why can't I do it? And basically it all comes down to this. Obviously, there's a bunch of other different things, but this is a key area of it, all right? So basically, if we have an absence of courage, right? Courage being taking action in the face of fear and insecurity, right? Instead of fearing failure, so we just never move forward, we need to drum up enough meaning behind, moving forward for us to break through with courage, right? And what I meant when I said that depth inspires courage, right? And that courage has no purpose when it's just shallowness, is that if we are just caught up in shallowness, like we're not really tapping into what really is meaningful and moving to us as individuals, then courage has no purpose to enter our lives. We just stay in that same old cycle. And so what we need to do is realize that when we're lacking courage, when we're not moving forward in a meaningful way, it's because we don't have that clarity and that connection with what genuinely, authentically inspires and moves us as individuals. Because every time in my life, and you can try this on for size in your own life as well, every time I've made really bold moves in my life, it's totally been not because I didn't have fear, but because my meaning behind moving forward, my vision for what could be possible, my belief in my potential to actualize that meaningful vision was much bigger than that fear, right? And so this is exactly why we need to get connected to who we are. We need to get clear on what we want. And that is what generates the next step, which is the courage to actually move in that direction and implement it in our lives. But so many of us are lacking clarity. And I spoke to a brilliant human being just yesterday. And it was just such a quick call, so I was really listening intently to what he was sharing with me. And then basically what it came down to was he was wanting to progress in his business, but what was happening was he just couldn't get it together. He's like, I've got all the information, I've got all the wisdom, I've got all the life experience. He was a bit of an older guy as well. So he had all this knowledge, all this experience, all this expertise, but not being able to move forward. And as I listened to the language he was giving me, one of the key things was I picked up on his age being a problem, and I've related to that because at 25 I thought I was too old to make a change and get off the wrong path. I know what that weird limiting belief is, at whatever age. So that's a limiting belief holding him up. But then also he was mentioning the fear of failure quite a bit. And this is key as to why we don't clearly define what we would love to have in our lives, and therefore never generate the courage to achieve it because we stay stuck in the fears. The fear of failure, what happens with that one is the clearer and more defined you get around a vision or a goal, you're not only defining and getting clear on what success would look like, you're also setting up what failure looks like. So you'll be very conscious of you not attaining and being successful in that realm, right? So what happens is a lot of people who have the fear of failure, they get stuck in a lack of clarity, which was, I could see myself in my past, back in 2017, listening to this private conversation I didn't even know anybody was listening to, and hearing all the fears and stuff that was coming up for myself. There was part of that was driven by a fear of failure, and I wasn't clear. Obviously, I wasn't conscious of it. It's upon reflection, but I wasn't clear on how to move forward. I didn't have a clearly defined moving vision. It was kind of just going with the flow day by day, and I was lacking meaning and therefore lacking courage, because courage isn't going to come to the mix if it doesn't have a purpose. And I was just kind of staying in that mediocre, unfulfilled place, right? And so And so clearly defining what you want also clearly defines what it would look like if you were to fail, right? Because you've got the goal and then it's very clear if you're not at the goal, right? But don't let that stop you, because like most people do. Instead, realize that the more meaning that you can create in your life and in what you're looking to create, that will, overtake the fears, and that will allow courage to step forward in the face of your fears. And then you'll take action in alignment with the goals that you're looking to achieve in this lifetime, right? So the key here is you can't just bypass the personal work that's required of you, right? Like you've got to become the person. You've got to create the vision. You've got to step forward with courage that needs purpose in the meaning in that vision, right? And you need to be able to do that in order to bring your grandest, visions into reality in any area of your life, right? And so I want you to, instead of giving up, right? And like a lot of people just go, oh, I just can never move forward. Maybe I just don't have what it takes, right? I can't do what other people do or whatever it is. And instead of getting caught up in that, just make it alert you. Like if you're not having the energy and the courage and the drive to move forward, it's not because you don't have the potential to. What it really is you're just not clearly defining a really moving vision for yourself in whatever area of life that is. All right. And the moment you step into that is the moment that you'll generate courage. But you also need to realize that there may be quite a bit of work that you personally need to do within yourself, like for instance, clearing past pains and anchors and experiences that are adding up, like then you're not looking at them, and then your whole identity and how you see yourself and what you believe is possible for yourself is actually trapped in past experiences, past judgments, past all these unaddressed fears, right? And so I see this for a lot of people, and this was my pathway as well, that you're like, okay, I'm here, I haven't done the work that I need to do behind me. I'm trying to create this fulfilling future for myself, but I can't move forward because you're not yet the person that you need to be in order to actualize that vision. It's not because you don't have the potential, but you may potentially be looking in the wrong direction. And I had to learn this path the long way, right? Like trying to strive forward to grand visions, but then having moments like I did in this private conversation that I mentioned, right? And then just feeling like, oh, I'm burned out, like I'm trying to push forward, not realizing I've got all these anchors to the past that hadn't been looked at, hadn't been addressed, hadn't been cleared, and hadn't been integrated and redefined so that they're no longer holding me back. And then I can get to a place where I've cleared the past to make way for my future, so I can stand in the present and I can get that real meaning and that clarity, and it will override and overtake any fears and insecurities that are inevitable as human beings, and I'll have courage appear that will propel me forward to take action towards actualizing my greatest potential and my grandest visions in each of those areas of life. So I hope me just kind of talking this out with you guys is of value. And so, yeah, like courage is a necessary part of the equation. It's the necessary fuel source that each and every one of us needs in order to exit a mediocre existence and enter one that's actually really fulfilling and extraordinary in all realms. So hope that that's of value, and I definitely want to check in with you guys. So let me know where in the world you're tuning in from. Drop me a comment. Let me know what's going on in your world. Say hi, or any questions or comments or words of wisdom. As you guys know, I absolutely love getting to connect with you. And if you haven't jumped on one of my 15-minute power sessions, they're just these really quick, short, sharp, free sessions. I love getting to meet you guys and connect with anybody who is really committed to their own growth. And I love jumping on and I hear a short bit of your story, and we rock it out, and then I give you potentially a good perspective or an insight that could help set you free and unlock your next level of your potential. All right, so if you're interested in that, just let me know and I'll give you the link to my calendar, and I can't wait to meet you. All right, let me check in with you guys. I've got George and Billy and Deanne and Michelle. Hello to you, beautiful. And Bill's in the house. Hello to you, my friend. And Goldie, good morning to you. And Bill, if other people are discouraging you, remember they are projecting their fears on you. Yeah, that is very, very true. And that's why we have to be so careful. And I've had to learn this one the hard way as well. You know, super careful about who we bring into our inner circle, right? Are they people who are committed to their growth? Because if you're surrounding yourself with people who aren't committed with their growth, unfortunately, human nature is, in order to progress, people who aren't willing to take responsibility for their own growth, they're going to bring other people down in order for them to feel that sense of I'm okay. Right? You want to make sure that the people in your life that you're surrounding yourself with are those who are absolutely taking responsibility and are totally committed to their own personal growth, so that they're not projecting their stuff on you, and so that they can actually progress in their own unique ways, and then be able to make your success their success, and their success becomes your success, right? So I love that, Bill, and I'm extremely grateful to have somebody like yourself in our Limitless Potential Academy. So love that, because that's all about, you know, surrounding ourselves with extraordinary human beings, right, who are committed to their growth, who want to support and encourage and challenge each other to do the same. So thank you so much for that share, Bill. And any of you guys who aren't in the Limitless Potential Academy and you'd like to be surrounded by extraordinary people, definitely reach out to me. And Bill, famous actors, successful business people, great athletes, scientists, all successful people were none of those before they started their journey. Yeah, absolutely. What is that quote? Oh my gosh, you guys know I always butcher these quotes, but every master was once a disaster, right? Like, we don't just make it straight out the gate. What sets those people apart is they had clarity of vision that was totally meaningful and purpose-driven for them. And so what happened was, with that clarity and that meaning and that purpose, what stepped forward for them was courage, right? The fuel source to bypass all your fears, make what you're moving toward much more important and moving than any fears and insecurities. And I talk to a lot of people reach out to me who want to kind of do what I do, right? And one of the things that they oftentimes say that they struggle with is just jumping on a Facebook Live, right? And I say to them, I was terrified, right? The first time I did my Facebook Live. And basically what allowed me to get through that was, it wasn't about my fears. You have to have more of a meaning and a purpose behind anything that you do that triggers any fear. Because if I was to make doing a live video, all about my fear of, what if people don't like it? What if people reject me? What if people criticize me? What if people challenge me? Whatever it is, right? Like, I would never get on these lives. I wouldn't have done the thousand of videos I've done at this point, right? And so instead, I'm able to have zero fear jumping onto a Facebook Live, because it's more about my sense of contribution and meaning and moving forward. And I see it clearly defined and connected to what I wish to do in this world, right? So that's just an example. And I love that, Bill. So true. And Roxana's in the house. I love it. Awesome. And Daryl, awesome quote by Grant Cardone. Awesome. I suggest you become obsessed about the things you want. Otherwise, you are going to spend a lifetime being obsessed with making up excuses as to why you didn't get the life you wanted. That is amazing. Always appreciate you, Daryl, and brilliant words from the incredible Grant Cardone. Thank you so much for sharing them here. So in alignment, and absolutely, Bill, they did the work. And most people don't do the work because they're letting their fears and insecurities and their lack of meaning and disbelief in their ability to attain what they want, because they haven't done the work on themselves to clear the identity connected to the past that's anchoring them and keeping them playing small, right? Instead, they could be creating a grander vision, taking responsibility for who they are and redefining who they choose to become, what that looks like in that term of what is actually juicy and meaningful to them as individuals, and allowing courage to become bigger than their fears and insecurities. So totally. And Bill, shine on, go get them today. You too, my friend. Always great to have you guys. So thank you so much for showing up. I really appreciate you guys contributing to the conversation, co-creating this space, and showing up randomly whenever I choose to do these lives. I hope that this one was of value to you. If it was, please do share it. And remember that courage requires a meaningful purpose to stimulate its appearance, right? So if you're stuck in life in any area right now, just know it's a good thing, right? You're stuck because it's alerting you to go, hang on, wake up. You have to be more clearly defined on why you're even wanting to move forward in this direction. And know that the more clarity you get, the more courage will come to the forefront. So love that. And Linda, thanks, Vanessa. How to live authentically and strive for a true life when family think I'm crazy and don't support. Been there, Linda. You guys who know my story know that, when I chose to get off the wrong path on, becoming a lawyer, at that point, nobody in my life, my partner he supported me on it, but everybody else in my life, my family, they thought I was crazy, thought I was nuts, right? And basically, I'll tell you this, the only reason I was able to do the thing that I knew would generate the repercussion of all my family and friends thinking I'm crazy, like, what the hell is she doing? Not supporting me, in actual fact, like removing themselves from my life for a period of time. The only reason I was able to do that and follow through, even though I knew that was what was going to happen, was because I was creating a bigger meaning than any of those fears. So, in order to, it's about, like you're saying there, Linda, how do I live authentically and strive for the life that I want, but with my family not supporting me? With courage, right? Courage is the thing that you need. And how do we get courage? We have meaning, real meaning that outweighs any of those fears and insecurities. And I'll tell you this. What's been my experience and the experience of a lot of people that I've worked with is that, initially their family, their friends, whoever is close to them might initially have a really bad, unsupportive response to them changing and moving in a more empowered direction for themselves personally. They don't get it, right? And so, but what's happened over time and what I personally had to do, I had to be willing to have that happen, and I had enough meaning and purpose to generate the courage to allow me to do so. And then secondly, I just kept giving them that reassurance, like showing them over time, being consistently reassuring that I was choosing the right path for me, that now, my mum and dad are like my biggest supporters. They were my biggest critics at the beginning, and now they're my biggest supporters, right? Like my mum even works in my business, right? So, it will happen. Just take a longer term vision and know this. Why would you want to not live authentically? No matter what repercussions are in your external world, as you guys have been following me a long time, you know this off by heart by this stage. The number one regret of the dying is I wish I had have had the courage to live a life true to myself rather than one I felt was expected of me. Do not allow yourself to get to the end of your life and then finally own that. Know that. You know that innately is true. If you're not living a life that's authentic to you, whose life are you living? And nobody outside of you can know what's best and meaningful to you other than you. At some point, we have to transition from the kid who's looking to the parents, to define what life is all about and what we should be all about. And then we have to take back that power and we have to go, all right, I can see. And this is the knowledge that I generated with my parents, right? That also allowed me to take that courageous, bold move that I knew would create the challenge from them. I looked deeper and I realized, oh my gosh, like those who love me just want me to be happy. It's just that their model of the world thinks that in order for me to be happy, it has to look this way. In my example, it would be, my parents thought in order for me to be happy and fulfilled in life, I had to become a successful doctor or lawyer or engineer, right? And it was my journey here to go, you know what, I'm going to take ownership of my own happiness. And if I know that underneath their, wanting me to be this, I can actually know that they just want me to be happy. It's just up to me to prove to them that, hey, this is how your daughter is going to be the happiest girl she could be, right? And it's not about, and that's how I'd be very unhappy, because I'd be doing it for all the wrong reasons, going down the wrong path. Right. And so that was part of the equation as well. Look below that, your family. And if they didn't want you to be happy, if they didn't want you to be your most happy, fulfilled human being, unfortunately, you're just going to have to come to terms with not needing those quality of people in your life. I don't believe that just because people are blood, that you should let them treat you any which way, abuse you or limit you. Right? But it is your job and your journey to take responsibility for your own happiness, to step forward with courage and not be driven by your fears of what people will say about you or what will be taken away from you, because you'll be living a very empty internal life if you don't step forward with courage and tread your own path. And just know that the people who really love you, they will come with you along the timeline when they're ready. Right? But you have to stay consistent and show them another way, right? Wake them up to another possibility. So I hope that was of value to you, Linda. Always love seeing you. And Alps, every big journey starts with the courageous first step. Absolutely. I love it. The fuel source, right? And Dominic's here and Huss is in the house. And Bill, it's so exciting watching you go after your dream. Oh, Bill, thank you so much, my friend. I'm grateful to be on this journey with you and always appreciate your beautiful feedback and your amazing support. So thank you so much, Bill. And Julie's here as well. Good to see you, Julie. So that is my message for each and every one of you guys today. I hope that it's been of value to you. Like I said, if you want to connect, if you feel like I could support you just in a really short, sharp 15-minute power session, give you a new perspective, help you break through, then you can book in one of my free sessions in my calendar. So just reach out or drop me a comment. I'll give you the calendar link. And also, if this has been valuable, then please do share it. And thank you to each and every one of you guys again for joining me live today and, being in this space. So go out there and live authentically, love deeply, and contribute meaningfully. And for those of you who are interested in coming along and joining live for our next Limitless Potential podcast, we have the exceptional Catherine Woodward Thomas joining us, relationship expert, incredible soul. I've learned so much from her. She was made famous really by Gwyneth Paltrow going through her process of conscious uncoupling. Most people are doing the unconscious coupling and uncoupling, I guess, but she's a brilliant human being. So if you want to master the area of intimate relationship in particular, you'll definitely want to be live with us on Thursday. So Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, or it might be Wednesday evening for you guys in the States. And awesome, Linda, wonderful. Grateful that was of value to you. All right, I'm signing off, guys. I'm sending you all of my love, and I cannot wait to see you tomorrow.